Brittney Griner was caught on tape during a game with the Indiana Fever, dropping racial slurs against Caitlin Clark.
An explosive accusation has rocked the WNBA. One of its biggest stars, Brittney Griner, is alleged to have been caught on video dropping a racial slur against the league's new golden goose, Caitlin Clark, during a game. And perhaps even more controversially, while the incident ignites a firestorm online. And among sports analysts, the league itself is facing intense backlash for reportedly refusing to launch an investigation. Pretty incredible, right? Amidst Caitlin Clark's soaring, unprecedented popularity this season, Brittney Griner's alleged remarks have quickly spiraled into what many are calling the WNBA's biggest crisis to date. It's a controversy exposing deep divisions, questions of fairness, and apparent failures in leadership that threaten to overshadow the exciting on-court action entirely.
When it comes to Caitlin Clark, now I've taken hits because I was calling it from day one. You got people that are resentful towards her. But it's really not about her, guys. It's about what she represents. Before she ever came along, there were a lot of outstanding basketball players who happened to be black females that was doing their thing on the WNBA level. And they never got this kind of shine. This girl, the Golden Goose, comes along and she wreaks havoc.
The moment that sparked this firestorm occurred during a tense game between the Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark's team, and the Atlanta Dream, where Brittney Griner plays. Footage captured Griner on the bench, visibly frustrated after fouling out of the game. What started as a seemingly routine display of on-court frustration quickly took a dark turn when lip readers watching the viral clip began sharing interpretations of Griner's words. While some offered a less incendiary reading, suggesting she said something like whack call in frustration with the officiating, a far more damaging interpretation circulated widely, that Griner called Caitlin Clark trash, followed by explicit language, and what some claim was a racial slur directed at Clark based on her race. The specific alleged phrase interpreted by many was effing white girl. The ambiguity of the audio, coupled with the potentially explosive nature of the interpreted words, immediately ignited widespread debate across social media platforms, drawing millions of views and intense scrutiny.
Folks, the WNBA already set a precedent. It doesn't matter what Brittney Griner said. It doesn't matter what Brittney Griner said, because they've already shown us they don't need evidence, they don't need substance, they don't need any type of proof at all to launch a bogus investigation into Indiana Fever fans, so they shouldn't need any substance, any basis, any evidence to launch an investigation into any other fan, any other player, any other group. The WNBA set this precedent.
What followed the viral spread of this video has perhaps been even more astonishing and frustrating to observers: the WNBA's apparent silence and inaction. Despite clear video evidence existing, widespread public outcry across various platforms, and calls from fans and media for transparency and accountability, the league has reportedly chosen not to launch an official investigation into Griner's alleged comments. This striking lack of response has been met with disbelief and anger, particularly when contrasted with the league's history of acting swiftly in other, sometimes less substantiated situations. Critics immediately pounced, arguing that this silence is not just disappointing, but a stunning display of cowardice and a blatant failure by the league to uphold its own stated values of inclusivity and respect, or to protect its players.
That we were talking about earlier today.
And it doesn't take a lot of genius to lip read Brittney Griner, whose voice, by the way, is about as low as mine is, calling her trash and an effing white girl. Now, of course, if Caitlin Clark had ever suggested the same in reverse, using black as opposed to white in that sentence, that'd be the end of her WNBA career. But Brittney Griner is going strong.
Adding significant weight to the criticism is the voice of prominent sports commentator Stephen A. Smith. He has been particularly outspoken, vocally condemning both Brittney Griner's alleged behavior and the WNBA's handling of the situation. Smith, known for his influential platform and often cautious approach to highly sensitive topics, did not hold back this time. He openly criticized the league's apparent lack of accountability and cowardice, specifically calling out Commissioner Kathy Engelbert for allegedly failing in her responsibility to protect players and uphold the league's integrity during this pivotal moment. His strong, unequivocal stance amplified the controversy, moving it from social media debate to mainstream sports analysis and increasing pressure on the league to address the allegations.
Clearly, she's not remembering who they let out to get her back.
The
on
Merchant
American
of
Soul.
Death.
The Merchant of Death. An arms dealer that wanted to kill American citizens, according to the reports. That's who they let out for her. You would think that you would be smiling, you would be ecstatic, you would be happy, and something like this wouldn't faze you at all. The fact that it does is disturbing. I'll leave it at that.
Perhaps the most damaging element of this controversy is the widespread accusation that the WNBA is applying a clear double standard. Critics have repeatedly highlighted the glaring inconsistency between the league's reported inaction regarding Griner's alleged remarks and its response to other incidents. They point specifically to a recent investigation launched by the league into unsubstantiated claims of racist chants from Indiana Fever fans. That investigation, which reportedly took nearly 2 weeks to conclude and found no evidence of racist language, involved dedicating resources to unproven allegations. In sharp contrast, a clear video clip involving a prominent player allegedly using a racial slur has reportedly been met with outright silence and a refusal to investigate. This disparity has fueled intense accusations that the league's enforcement of rules and its commitment to addressing misconduct are not applied equitably, raising troubling questions about fairness and potential bias based on the race of the individuals involved.
Okay, we're not gonna sit here and act like Brittney Griner was not in a Russian jail a couple of years ago. You know what I'm saying? So maybe she's still trying to adjust to regular stuff. But for you to be confused why fans are showing up to a basketball game and not to do their taxes or their homework. It's hard for me to understand it.
This entire crisis is inextricably linked to the phenomenon that is Caitlin Clark. Her arrival in the WNBA following a record-shattering college career brought an unprecedented level of attention to women's basketball. Suddenly, WNBA games were selling out arenas that had previously been half empty, television ratings were skyrocketing to levels rivaling major men's sports, and merchandise sales hit historic highs. Clark became the face of the league's newfound visibility, a golden goose credited with bringing massive exposure and financial growth that benefits every player. However, this rapid, overwhelming success and the spotlight she commands have reportedly sparked significant resentment among some veteran players and fans.
Brittney Griner was in a Russian prison. You would think that somebody who is now free, back in America on home soil, would not have too much to complain about. Especially something like this. Fans in every sport. She described the fans.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what sport you are. It doesn't matter what sport you pick. That's how fans act in every arena.
This resentment, according to many observers, isn't just directed at Clark personally, but at what she represents. Before her arrival, numerous incredibly talented black female players dedicated years, even decades, to building the league, often with limited mainstream recognition or financial reward. Clark's swift ascension to superstardom, the massive endorsements she's garnering, and the perception of special treatment from the media and fans have created tension. Veteran players who feel they've paved the way are reportedly struggling to reconcile their years of dedication with a rookie instantly receiving the bulk of the attention and financial opportunities, fueling a narrative of unfairness and friction within the league's locker rooms and fan bases.
Now, so the way that it works is if no racism happens in the stands, the WNBA does a full investigation. If there are hard fouls on Caitlin Clark every night and Brittney Griner is using slurs, like pretty openly, against Caitlin Clark, then it's racism to even pay attention to any of that. You see, everything has to end in racism. If you were to create a flowchart, what it would look like is something racist didn't happen, therefore investigate racism. Or something maybe racist happened but was against a white person. You mentioning this this is also probably racism against black people. If you want to get people never to watch the WNBA, this is an amazing way to do it. Truly an amazing way to do it. Because if the league is going to be rooted in this sort of nastiness with regard to its only real star, good luck to them. And we'll see what the viewership is like in the WNBA. Truly, truly idiocy.
Stephen A. Smith added a controversial and highly personal dimension to his criticism of Griner by referencing her harrowing experience being detained in Russia and her subsequent release via a prisoner exchange involving Victor Bout, the arms dealer known as the Merchant of Death. Smith argued that given this traumatic and life-altering event, and her fortunate return to freedom and professional basketball facilitated by the U.S. government, Griner's public displays of frustration, particularly her reported complaints about the increased fan attention and noise that has accompanied Clark's popularity, came across as deeply ungrateful. He suggested that someone who had been through what she had should perhaps find it difficult to complain about the positive aspects of the league finally receiving the attention it deserves, adding a layer of complexity and debate to his critique.
Did you catch that? Brittney Griner calling Caitlin Clark trash and a effing white girl during a game? Now, imagine if the roles were reversed. If Caitlin had called Griner trash and followed it with effing black girl. The outrage will be instant. Headlines, public backlash, suspensions, and major sponsors pulling out. But because it was said to a white athlete, many are brushing it off or even laughing. That's a dangerous double standard.
WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert has come under intense scrutiny for her handling of various controversies involving Caitlin Clark, especially her response.
The leadership of WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert has been particularly scrutinized throughout this season, especially in her handling of controversies involving Caitlin Clark. Critics point to instances like her comparison of the intense Clark-Angel-Reese rivalry to historical male sports dynamics, a comparison that some players and the Women's National Basketball Players Association felt downplayed or ignored the racial undertones and online harassment directed at players. In past interviews addressing the rise of toxic social media behavior around the league, Engelbert has been criticized for seemingly emphasizing the positive growth of the sport over a strong, unequivocal condemnation of racist and abusive online interactions. Her reported silence on the Griner allegations has only intensified concerns, reinforcing the perception among some that she is hesitant to confront difficult issues head-on, potentially prioritizing the league's public image over fully addressing instances of alleged misconduct.
I have never seen an organization more committed to self-imploding than the WNBA. A few weeks ago, I made this video highlighting how it appears Brittney Griner said bleep white girl after fouling out in a game against Indiana Fever, the team that Caitlin Clark plays for. Some people like Jamel Hill, former ESPN host, says that no, she didn't say bleep white girl. She says bleep whack call, to which she then went on to call me a grifter for even pointing this out, but besides the point. You can watch and make up your own mind as to what it appears Brittney Griner is saying. It's not certain what Griner says. There is one way to find out. Ask Brittney Griner. However, no one has done that except for Outkick. It's been over 2 weeks since Griner said this. Instead, the WNBA was investigating a bogus race hoax made up by Angel Reese about Indiana Fever fans.
The controversy is made even more striking by the timing, occurring shortly after the WNBA launched its No Space for Hate campaign, designed to promote anti-racism and foster an inclusive environment for everyone involved in the league. Critics argue that the league's failure to investigate or even acknowledge the alleged racial slur from a prominent player directly contradicts the very principles of this campaign. This perceived hypocrisy makes the anti-hate initiative appear performative to some observers, suggesting that the league's commitment to addressing hate speech is inconsistent or selectively applied depending on who is allegedly involved. Many feel this undermines the credibility of the league's stated values and its efforts to build a truly inclusive community.
Just in the short amount of time that I watched, I remember back a while back before Caitlin was in this, of all these female professional players bitching about not getting paid what the men do, and then it was made clear that when you have the draw, when you can bring in the money, the revenue, the advertising dollars, then you'll get paid more money. Caitlin Clark has made that happen for the entire league, but these girls are doing everything in their power to destroy the golden goose that benefits them as a collective. And the referees, it looks like somebody has paid these high school referees to basically ignore any foul.
This entire situation threatens to significantly derail the unprecedented momentum the WNBA has gained, thanks in large part to Caitlin Clark's transformative impact. For years, the league faced challenges with attendance, viewership, and mainstream relevance. Clark's arrival offered a golden opportunity for sustained growth and visibility. However, internal conflicts like player resentment, combined with alleged misconduct incidents and questions surrounding leadership and accountability, risk alienating the very fans and sponsors attracted by Clark. Without a transparent, consistent, and equitable approach to handling these sensitive issues, the WNBA risks squandering its best chance at long-term success and could damage its brand and credibility for years to come.
How do we know this? Attendance for the entire league was up nearly 50% last year. According to data from across the timeline, and Indiana led all teams with an average attendance of 17,035. That was up 319% from the year earlier. 319%. 319%. All other teams still grew by double-digit percentages. So let's not forget that. But they didn't grow by 319%. That was Caitlin Clark, which means she's largely responsible for the overall league attendance records. Merchandise sales were also up 450% for the WNBA, according to Fanatics, and Clark was the top-selling player and is fifth among athletes across all sports.
Adding to the perception of a league struggling with transparency is a report that the media outlet Outkick was allegedly denied media credentials to cover a game involving Brittney Griner's team, the Atlanta Dream, shortly after attempting to make inquiries about the alleged incident. Outkick representatives publicly stated they believed the denial, despite having credentials for other professional leagues, was an attempt to suppress uncomfortable questions and control the narrative surrounding the controversy. While the league cited limited space, this alleged action further fueled skepticism about the WNBA's willingness to be open and accountable during this turbulent period.
The We at Outkick applied for media credentials to cover Brittney Griner's team, the Atlanta Dreams, game on June 6th, to which, shocker, they denied us. We've never had trouble getting media credentials with any professional sports league in the past, but wouldn't you know, now they suddenly have very limited space, which is total baloney. They just want to suppress any sort of uncomfortable inquiries from media.
In summary, the firestorm surrounding Brittney Griner's alleged comments about Caitlin Clark, coupled with the WNBA's controversial decision to reportedly not investigate, has exposed deep fault lines within the league. It highlights complex issues related to race, veteran versus rookie dynamics, alleged double standards in governance, and questions about the effectiveness of leadership under Commissioner Engelbert. While Caitlin Clark has brought extraordinary growth opportunities to the WNBA, the league's response to this crisis and its ability to navigate these internal tensions with fairness and transparency will be crucial in determining its long-term trajectory. The stakes couldn't be higher, and how the WNBA moves forward will shape perceptions of its institutional integrity and its capacity to truly capitalize on this moment.